Hey, this is Kenny Moran, and welcome to my tutorial series on the new instrument called Sequence by Big Fish Audio. This tutorial will be on the sequencer page, and you'll notice there are 5 modes down the bottom. We have sequencer, we got mixer, roll creator, menus, and the 808 bass player, as I like to call it. But we're going to start this one on the sequencer section, and I'm going to show you how this all works. It's very simple to use, but extremely powerful. So down here on the left hand side, we have tracks 1 through 12. There are 12 tracks in total. You can see the name of each sample for each track. Right next to it, you have the mute, solo button, volume button, and the panner. So you have everything you need or that you would expect to see on any kind of sequencer. Right here, you have the little 2 work wheels, and the work wheels allow you to make simple edits on the sample itself. So if I was to sit here and play that kick drum and shorten its length, you can see that it's much shorter. I put a soft tail on it. Real short. And then the pitch. So you can see there right off the bat you can tailor any one of the settings for the basic sample. You got the envelope you can change on the end, you can change the pitch, which is really useful while you're programming. When you look here, this is where you actually do the programming, and you'll see these squares here. You have 4 dark gray, 4 light gray, 4 dark gray, 4 light gray. That's saying that this is a 16-step pattern that you're working in, and it's very easy to figure out where the steps start. And they kind of broke it up into quarter sections, so it's easy to understand where you would put like a 4 on the floor kind of beat, just 1 on every one. So we can do anything we want with this. If I just press play a second, I could just do this. Real simple to change things. Very, very simple to change the pattern or come up with a pattern. Now, in this section here, we noticed that I said it was 16 steps. And how do you know that it's a 16-step pattern? Well, you can see the 16 steps in front of you. But actually, if you look right here to the right, it shows you steps, and it's actually a 32-beat pattern. So, well, where are the 32 steps then? Well, right here in the middle, you'll see steps. And we're looking at the first 16, and now we're looking at the second set of 16, 17 to 32. Now, if I'm holding this down, you'll notice that it counts across the top. Right, you can see this counting, but then it stops. So right beside the steps, if you press F, that means follow. So and it automatically will show you all the steps. And if I don't want it to follow, I can turn it off, and I can just work on this part. Okay, let's get rid of that. Now, a real cool function is you can see that the play button here, and I can click on this, and I can start and stop it whenever I want. Well, it's also controlled by C4 on your keyboard, which is the black note here. So you can tell what that is. So I can just start and stop, and I'll just move my mouse beside it. So right? So let's look at the keys down here for a second. The red keys are for the 808 bass player, so we'll cover that in another tutorial. But the green keys and the blue keys are very specific to the playing of the sequencer. The green keys represent starting what scene you're working on, and the scenes over here 1 through 12. So you can have 12 different patterns, if you will, and I can control them by just holding down the associated scene. That's obviously scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, 4, and so on. You can see it following me. Very simple, very simple. So when I'm programming that, you can see how I've just recorded the scene movement inside Logic. So I don't actually have to do that by hand. I can sit here and just go, okay, I'm going to hit this note, and then I'll hit this note when I'm ready, and then this note when I'm ready, and then that way you create your whole song with the 12 different scenes here. You can think of the scenes too as parts of songs. You know, the scene 1 could be intro, scene 2 could be verse, scene 3 could be the pre-section, and 4 could be the chorus, and then you have all these other things because you can say how many steps it is. It could just be, you know, a fill, a turnaround section, you know, a beat part, maybe a breakdown beat, whatever it is you want to do, you can find your way through it in the 12 steps of the sequencer. So going over here again where we showed the steps and we have 32, we can take that anywhere down from 0 to 64. So we can make this really intricate or really simple. As a matter of fact, if I just put it on 16 and 16 and press play again, and let's put it on a follow, you notice that the follow is showing you exactly the 1 to 16. But here's what's really neat. The other half of the pattern's still there. I didn't delete it. I just said, I only want you to play this many steps, which are 16, right? So I can put this back to 32, and you'll notice here, if I hit follow again and hit play, so really easy to, you know, to work on this. I don't have to have the DAW playing if I just want to work on the beat, you know. So let's look at some cool functions in here. This says beat, obviously in the blue, you can tell what's going on. But when I go here, I can see the length, click again, the volume, the pan, and the pitch of each step in the sequencer. Now this is really interesting because I can take, say, this drum beat, and let's just look at the length of the drum beat a second. And I'll hit solo, and I'll let it play so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to make these ones really short. Make that one short too. Just to give you some variation. I'll do that here too. And without changing the volume, I'm already getting some variation in that kick drum. Now, I could look here and say, let's go to the actual volume of these hits. And I'm going to go back to the first 16. And I'm going to make beat 1. I'm going to make it like 118. And I'm going to make this kind of like 118 or something as well. So you can see as I'm dragging this up and down, on the left-hand side of the sequencers, like the first red square, you can see the value I'm changing it to. So I can be consistent about what I want to do. And I'm going to do this here. Bring that down some and up a little. Right? Now, I can also go to the pan. I'm going to use some different sounds for the pan here for a second. I'm going to grab our rim shot, our snare, and this miscellaneous. It says miscellaneous percussion, so I'm not quite sure what that is, but you can hear where it's clapping there. Right? So I'm going to pull these outside ones so you can see how that worked that easy. I'll go to the first part. I'll make these a little wider. There you go. Just give me some separation. Now, one of the things I really like to do I'm going to take solo off here, and so you can see how I went through the panning and did some stuff without even pressing play. I'm going to do a little bit of this. This is what I call movement. I like to have some movement in the hi-hats. I'm just moving them left and right off of center, not hard left and right, just a little tiny bit. So if I press play again, I need to do that on the second half. And this to me is more of a random thing, so I'm just making it, a little bit random here. Oh, and these ones I want to be wider. Let's go back to the volume. I want that. And let's go to the first part. Do a similar thing here. So you can see how easy it is to program and how powerful it is right on the fly just to do this. I haven't worked on any, mix volumes or anything like that. I'm just working on my beat, in place, if you will. The other thing I like to do with some of those hats is I can grab the pitch here and let's press play again. And do that. One thing, let's go to the next part here, and right, so I don't necessarily have to grab a new sample to do that. I can just sit here and do some of the pitch changing, which makes it sound like it's a different thing. And then of course we get back to the beat. So you have the beat in here, you have the length of the samples, you have the volume, you have the panning, and you have the pitch. And it's that easy to do that right on the fly while you're making your beat. That there is pretty much this entire section on how to get the beat programming. In another tutorial, we'll get deeper into a few more things that are going on there in terms of like using it for live. But when you're programming, you're all said and done.